Imagine the scene. You are sitting in a crowded space. It could be a high-stakes meeting at your office. It could be a holiday dinner with your extended family. It could be a casual weekend hangout with old friends. Then, out of nowhere, it hits. Someone fires a direct shot at you across the room. Maybe they take a swipe at your career path, mock your appearance, bring up an old blunder you've spent years trying to forget, or minimize a brilliant idea you just shared. The specific insult doesn't actually matter. What matters is the immediate aftermath. Suddenly, every conversation stops. Dozens of eyes slowly pivot and lock directly onto your face. In that exact millisecond, your pulse skyrockets. A wave of heat rushes up your neck. Your mind freezes into absolute static. Under that intense pressure, you instinctively choose one of two paths. Either the adrenaline takes over and you snap back with an angry comment that leaves you looking bitter, or you instantly shut down, put on a forced, painful smile, and swallow the toxic moment whole. Then comes the worst part. Hours later, staring at the ceiling in the dark, your brain locks you into an agonizing loop. You replay the scene 100 times, crafting the flawless, devastating comebacks you wish you had deployed. But here's the ultimate secret. The reason that moment keeps burning in your mind has very little to do with the words they used. It burns because you felt completely defenseless in your own skin. But that dynamic ends today. By the time this video finishes, you will possess a precise psychological blueprint for handling anyone who attempts to diminish you in public. You won't just survive the confrontation, you will master it. You will exit that room holding far more social capital and respect than when you walked in. Pay close attention. Because the strategy we are about to break down will fundamentally alter your social interactions forever. First, we need to dismantle what is actually occurring underneath the surface when someone targets you in front of a crowd. Most people misread this completely. When an individual tries to expose or embarrass you socially, your primal survival instincts flag it as an existential threat. It feels deeply personal, as if they possess a profound hatred for who you are. But here is the liberating reality you need to internalize. Public disrespect is almost never actually about you. Consider this analogy. Think of a hyperactive, insecure dog that relentlessly barks at passing traffic, falling leaves, or shadows. Does that dog bark because the shadow committed a crime? Of course not. The dog barks because it is trapped in a state of internal panic and hyperreactivity. People who weaponize public humiliation operate on the exact same frequency. Their hostility is an outward projection of an internal crisis. It tells you everything about their fragile ego and absolutely nothing about your worth. They strike out because they are starving for validation. They crave a fleeting sense of dominance. They need the crowd to chuckle so they can feel significant for a brief, desperate moment. They are fundamentally insecure individuals masking their fear with a loud voice and a sharp comment. Now, understanding this psychology doesn't mean you sit back and play the victim. It means you stop operating from a place of emotional panic and start executing from a position of absolute power. Because here is the golden rule of social dynamics. The first person to lose their composure loses the entire room. The moment you match their volume and start shouting, you lose. The moment you shrink your posture and withdraw into yourself, you also lose. The individual who maintains an unbothered, steady composure, the one who refuses to flinch, is the one who commands the room's respect. So stop asking yourself, how do I emotionally destroy this person? Start asking, how do I maintain absolute control and elevate my dignity? Here are 5 highly effective psychological tactics to do exactly that. 1. The Stoic Intermission. The first countermove sounds incredibly basic, but its psychological impact is massive. This single shift in body language will instantly flip the power dynamics in the room. When someone hurls a comment meant to degrade you, refuse to offer an immediate reaction. Give it a deliberate pause. Take a calm, measured breath. Look them dead in the eye and simply blink once, slowly. That is all. When a bully strikes, they are banking entirely on a predictable emotional payoff. They have pre-programmed their next move based on your expected defense mechanisms. They want to see the flash of anger, the tears, the stuttering, or the visible panic. That emotional reaction is the exact fuel keeping their performance alive. When you answer with absolute stillness instead, you completely starve them of that fuel. You leave them standing exposed in front of the entire group with absolutely nothing to feed on. No drama, no escalation. Just an uncomfortable, freezing silence that slowly turns the pressure right back on them. Your stillness isn't passivity. It is ultimate control. And in a room full of people, the person with the most self-control holds all the leverage. The instigator will inevitably start to fidget while the crowd begins to silently wonder why you are so completely unbothered. You haven't uttered a syllable and you've already shifted the power balance. 2. The crowd pivot. This is where the vast majority of people miscalculate. They either remain frozen in an awkward silence or they lock all their focus entirely onto the antagonist. Both approaches keep you playing defense on their terms. Instead, you are going to execute a brilliant tactical pivot. You are going to pull the focus onto the room itself. Following your deliberate pause, smoothly shift your gaze away from the aggressor and scan the surrounding audience. Do not do this with a panicked, pleading look. Do it with a calm, analytical curiosity. Look at the room as if you are an objective scientist observing a bizarre social experiment. Then, deliver a highly targeted, casual observation like, "Well, that felt incredibly awkward. Was it just me, or did everyone else catch that tone?" Or say nothing at all, letting your eyes drift across the room with a totally relaxed, neutral expression. No anger, no forced smiling. Just pure, unbothered observation. The moment you invite the room into the dynamic, you cease to be an isolated target. You instantly step into the role of the narrator. You pick up the awkward energy and hand it directly back to the audience. The entire room will suddenly feel the weight of what just happened, and they will instinctively place that discomfort exactly where it belongs, on the person who initiated the hostility. The attacker designed their strategy for a two-way fight between you and them. They never anticipated you calmly turning the entire room into a jury to evaluate their bad manners. Instead of watching you squirm, the crowd is now watching the instigator drown in an awkward silence of their own making. You have completely flipped the stage without ever raising your voice. 3. Objective exposure. This specific strategy might feel highly uncomfortable the first time you deploy it, but it is one of the most sophisticated boundaries you can establish. When someone attempts to diminish you publicly, you are going to call out the exact behavior, clearly and objectively in front of everyone. Look directly at them and state, "That sounded like a deliberate attempt to embarrass me. Did I misinterpret your intention there?" Or simply say, "That felt like a highly specific personal jab. I just want to ensure the room heard that clearly." Public disrespect relies entirely on a hidden, unspoken social contract. The attacker throws a sharp insult. The room stays quiet out of discomfort, and everyone collectively pretends it was just harmless banter. The aggressor gets their cheap thrill at your expense and walks away with zero social consequences. The moment you name the behavior out loud, you completely shatter that unwritten contract. You signal to the entire room, "I see exactly what is happening here. I am not going to pretend it's okay, and I am entirely unafraid to address it." This isn't being hypersensitive or playing a victim. This is displaying the rare social courage to state the objective truth out loud. The room will immediately sense that power shift, and they will respect you immensely for it. By putting the behavior on the official record, you prevent them from retreating behind the classic "it was just a joke" or "you're being too sensitive" defense lines. You handled it with absolute poise, meaning you aren't the one looking foolish. They are assets. 4. The indifference delete. There are times when the person attacking you simply doesn't warrant your energy or attention. Perhaps they are a chronic contrarian, or maybe everyone in the space is already fully aware of their toxicity. Engaging with them directly in any capacity gives them the exact spotlight they are begging for. In these specific scenarios, you deploy the strategic redirect. The exact millisecond they finish their insulting statement, look at them for precisely 1 second. Give them just enough eye contact to signal that you heard them, but not enough to grant them any actual importance. Then, physically pivot your shoulders and body completely away from them. Direct your focus towards someone else in the group and seamlessly resume a productive conversation as if the interruption never occurred. You can easily say, "Anyway, picking up where we left off?" Or, "I wanted to return to that fascinating point you were making earlier." This isn't fleeing the conversation. This is making a powerful executive decision about where your focus goes, and your focus communicates exactly what you value. By completely cutting them out and continuing a poised, self-assured dialogue, you send a devastating unspoken message. Your attempt to rattle me is so beneath my notice it doesn't even qualify for a response. You aren't attacking them out of rage. You are erasing them out of absolute indifference. And to an attention-seeking individual, being made completely invisible is far more brutal than any insult you could ever hurl back. 5. The measured counter. Occasionally, a situation demands an explicit verbal response. There are moments where the crowd needs to see you stand your ground and demonstrate that you possess sharp boundaries. Not a loud, chaotic defense, but a quiet, unshakable confidence that lets people know you are not to be trifled with. To execute this perfectly, you must adhere to 3 immutable rules. Keep your volume low, not high. The individual who raises their voice instantly projects a loss of control. Keep your tone soft, steady, and perfectly clear, forcing the room to quiet down and lean in to catch your words. Keep it brief, 1 or 2 sentences maximum. Elaborate explanations look highly defensive. Short, precise statements project absolute certainty. 0 counter-insults. You are not entering a petty mud-slinging match. You're concluding a boundary violation while keeping your dignity flawless. Here are a few highly effective examples. If someone mocks your professional trajectory or your big ambitions, look at them and say, "That's perfectly fine. Not everyone has the capacity to understand where I am heading." If someone drags up a past mistake to undermine you, respond with, "Yes, I made errors in the past. I'm incredibly grateful I have the self-awareness to grow from them." If they make an inappropriate joke about your private life, simply state, "I am entirely secure in who I am. It must be frustrating that I'm so difficult to rattle." None of these phrases are aggressive. None of them are toxic. Yet every single one carries an undercurrent of solid, unyielding self-assurance that is impossible to debate. You aren't playing defense and you aren't playing offense. You are standing like an immovable wall. Once you deliver your line, don't linger for their reaction. Give them a brief nod and immediately let the social energy move forward. You don't need their concession speech because your value is already entirely secure. Now, we must address a critical element that most communication guides completely ignore, and it is arguably the most vital piece of this entire breakdown. If someone successfully targets you for public humiliation, you must ask yourself an incredibly honest question. Is this the very first time this specific individual has crossed a line with you? If the answer is no, then the root issue isn't actually the specific words they uttered today. The root issue is what they have systematically learned about your boundaries over time. People rarely select their targets by accident. They test the waters. They push a tiny boundary to see what happens. When they meet 0 resistance, they push a little further, until eventually they feel completely comfortable disrespecting you in front of a crowd. They have learned through experience that crossing you carries no social cost. The real-time tactics we broke down today are incredibly powerful, but they only represent half of the equation. The remaining half dictates what you do once the crowd disperses. After you have navigated the public moment with flawless dignity, you must initiate a direct, private conversation with that person. No anger, no emotional outbursts, just cold, absolute clarity. Look them in the eyes and say, "What occurred in that room earlier cannot happen again. I'm addressing this with you directly because I value professional respect, but it is not happening a second time." No endless explanations, no empty threats, no dramatic flair, just pure clarity. Clarity is the native language of highly confident individuals. And it is the exact language that boundary pushers respect the most because they spend their entire lives hunting for targets who are too timid to speak clearly. You are no longer that person. The moment you begin responding to public disrespect with this level of calculated composure, a remarkable transformation takes place. People completely stop testing your boundaries. Not because you became an aggressive bully, and not because they fear your anger, but because you stopped projecting the energy of an easy target. You become someone who is universally perceived as grounded, clear, and utterly impossible to unseat. The very individuals who used to take passive-aggressive shots at you will naturally adjust their behavior. Because every single time you hold your ground without losing your cool, you are actively rewriting the unspoken rules of how the world is allowed to interact with you. That quiet, internal authority, the kind that never needs to shout to make its presence felt, is exactly what makes people check themselves before they ever dare step out of line in your direction. Before you walk away from this video, understand this foundational truth. Your dignity is never something other people grant you. It is a standard you claim for yourself, and you claim it not by outshouting the room, but by being the most anchored, centered, and certain person in it. The individual who tried to humiliate you was relying entirely on your panic, your submissive silence, or your explosive rage. They were planning to exploit the old version of you, but the person who just finished watching this video is a completely different caliber of individual. Now, there's one final layer to this strategy that we need to unpack, and it is arguably even more powerful than everything we've broken down so far. It centers on proactive presence, how to carry your body language, tone, and mindset so cleanly that toxic people naturally filter themselves out and think twice before they ever try to test you in the first place. I will be breaking that down step by step in our very next video. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you are at the front of the line the exact second it drops. And before you pivot away, drop a comment below and share. What is the absolute most challenging part of managing public pressure for you? Is it maintaining your internal calm under fire? Is it articulating the right words in the heat of the moment? Or is it the exhausting mental replay that keeps you awake at night? Let me know your thoughts below, because your feedback is going to directly dictate what psychological strategies we map out next. Stay anchored, and I will see you in the next video.